What's up? It's me. I'm back. Finally my day off, and more recently I've been finding myself arguing with my parents, especially my mom, about religious stuff. So yeah, we were talking about the concept of sin. I wanted to talk about who created sin, who invented it. This is like invention of lying kind of question. And I asked them that question, who created sin? And they're trying to tell me Adam and Eve created sin when they first sinned. And I said to them, so we humans, mortals that God created supposedly, we can create something, we can do something that God can't do because he's God and God can't sin, right? Christians, right? We humans have the free will to do something that's outside of God, is what they're suggesting. We have the free will to create and do something that God can't do. We shouldn't have any power to do anything that is outside of or opposed to God, but we can, something that God can't do. And I asked them that, and they said, no, that's not how it is. We didn't create sin, we just sinned. We didn't create it, we just did it. As in, they're trying to say that it already existed, we just took the capacity to do something that was already in existence, which doesn't make any sense, and I'm pretty sure you're thinking the same thing. We didn't create it, we just did it. That's like saying, a good comparison would be say that I was to go hang gliding, and I didn't invent hang gliding, I just hang glided, right? That would be true, but the thing is, if Adam and Eve were the first people to do hang gliding, they would have invented it. It's an act, just like sinning is an act. It's a verb. It's a thing you do. So they technically invented it in their answer. But there's another way around it because they were like, no, we didn't actually create it, because my parents were saying we didn't actually create sin. So I asked them this question because I was thinking about it the whole time. I said, God knows everything, and he knew we would sin, and he owns and controls everything, and even wrote the entire species' entire timeline up until the rapture and beyond. Does that mean that God owns and created sin? He is everywhere and he knows what will happen. So that means God did write sin, and therefore God created sinning. It has to be that, right? And my parents are trying to say, no, God didn't create sin because God can't sin and God wouldn't just choose sin for us. However, it looks like in Christianity, God chose sin for us. And they're trying to tell me, no, sin is the lack of God, but God is everywhere. God wrote everything. God knows everything that will ever happen. In fact, he chose for it to happen. So sinning is not a lack of God. Sinning is literally God's will. Every sin that has ever been is God's will. So, who created it? I'm going to go with God. If it didn't come from God, where did it come from? And why would God punish us for something that he created and chose for us? That doesn't make any sense. It will never make any sense. Christians don't make any sense to me. That makes God a hypocrite. He created it and then he punished it. He created it, he wrote it, he chose it, he willed it to be, and then he punishes us for actually doing what was already written for us. That doesn't make any sense. And I don't know why we have to be punished for this. It just doesn't make any sense. So if you're a Christian, go ahead and argue with me, because I would love for you guys to make sense at any point. If you make any sense ever at any point, I would love to hear it. In Christianity, humans did not create sin. God created it.